No yet. We seem to be live on.
The seagulls follow trawler. It's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much.
Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Don't back down, double down. Don't back down, double down.
The seagulls follow trawler. It's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much.
Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Don't back down, double down. Don't back down, double down.
Yes, it's Friday. It's the Double Doon show. Few technical issues there at the start. I never said I was good at this. I never said I was good at any of this. Well, it's happening. It's Friday. It's Double Doon show time, which means, as always, every week we bring on a guest from the viewership, a real authentic Celtic fan, and obviously a passenger on the Bhoycie bus this week. It is the main man, David Logue. Yes, mate. How you doing?
How's it going, Bhoycie? Thanks for having me on. I've got my single ticket. I'm on the bus.
It's a single ticket, mate, but you've no idea where it's going to. That's the thing. It's just a single, please, mate. The bus could take you anywhere. So tonight, what we've decided to do, we've went live on Facebook as well as a wee one-off, just to try and, I don't know, share the pod out a wee bit more, you know what I mean? But aye, so we're live to maybe a wider audience than normal tonight. There might be some people scrolling through the social media going, what's that boy in the daft t-shirt doing? Well, that'd be me with the daft hair. David, you're a barber, mate, and you're in your beautiful barbers Is it Hard Barbers? Is that how you pronounce it?
That's it. It's Hard Barber. It was meant to be nice and easy and sound like easy to remember, but then obviously I've got that wee symbol above the A, so then everybody starts freaking out and like, how do you pronounce it? I'm like, this was meant to be easy.
Yeah, totally, mate. Hard Barber. Whereabouts is that?
It's in Leslie and Fife, so everyone that joins the bus today, you want to come down to Leslie and say, I heard you talking pish on that bus. Come down. You might get a haircut out of it as well.
For the key question everyone wants to know is, what would you do with Bhoycie there, mate?
Mate, what? There's nothing to do. It's perfect. Why would we even dare touch it? Wouldn't even go near it. Just, you could come in, we'd sit you in the chair for 45 minutes and we'd just stare at you. Just like, look at that Barnett.
Look at that Barnett, mate. Indeed. We've got loads of people jumping on the bus this Friday night. We'll try and ring through some names, as I always try to do. Before that, big shout out to our sponsors, fanboyfootball.com. Big thanks to them for being the first ever partner of the Bhoycie bus. I hope the sound's okay. I seem to be getting sound for both my monitor and my mic, but as long as I'm not echoing crazy, happy days. Brown Warriors on the bus: Scott Howe, Teresa Lyle, Paul McFarlane, Joseph Agnew, Martin, Kay, Bruce FM. Who else? Donny Boy's in. Edmund Byrne, live on the bus. Where's the clippy? I need my ticket punched. We'll sort that out, mate. We will sort it out. Brian Webster, it's only Bhoycie. I love it, mate. Liam Collo, who was a guest a couple of weeks ago. Scott Howe, Ian at Green and White. Happy Friday, fellow Tims. Happy Friday to you, mate. Happy Friday. Monty saying, ooh, ah. I wonder what song that is. John Duncan's on the bus again. Love it. Brilliant to see so many folk. We're sitting with 50 on the bus already. That makes it a double-decker. And it's been a double-decker and a half of a week in the land of Celtic, which we are going to dive into tonight as well. Exciting times on the horizon for the Hoops. The winter shutdowns ended. We're now on, not quite the home straight yet, but we're in phase 2 of the season now. And we're looking for big things to happen from Celtic. And what a week it's been. It's been pretty favourable so far, which is what we're wanting. We're going to get our teeth into that. We've got new signings coming in. We've got a massive game in the second to look forward to. We've got injuries. We've got call-ups that we're going to discuss. It's all happening. Scottish football's bonkers, as we all know, and none more so if you are a Celtic supporter. So, without further ado, shall we get stuck into it? I'd usually have brought up loads of comments by now. Monty, Daft Jacket, that's the first one I'll bring up. Mate, it's a classic. It is a classic. And obviously, it's meant to be a bit of banter. It's a quiz at the end, game show host wears like a suit and all that. You know, it's all just a wee bit of fun. But yeah, it is a bit daft. It is a bit daft. Right, okay. Oh yes, and this is a valid point from Bruce FM. So I'm terrible for doing this because I'm not one for the whole, oh hey guys, if you like the video, check this out here. I hate all that shit. However, apparently it must be done. So if you want to get notifications for when the Bhoycie bus is next pulling out the depot, just hit the subscribe button and then hit the wee bell and you get a wee notification. It drops down and it'll be me when I'm coming on 5 minutes in advance, I think it is, or something like that. So absolutely try and do that if you can. If you hit the like button, apparently that gets the live show more traction over YouTube and obviously Facebook tonight as well. So feel free to hit all of them. Do them all. Get a wee hat trick. Right, let's get into it because the Double Doon show is one where we get a viewer on every week. Someone I don't really think there's many that are getting just the average Celtic fan on, David. So I know you're above the national average, mate, but you know what I mean. And it's important to try and get that balance where, you know, why shouldn't the viewers come on? And they've usually got great views in the comments boxes. Why not get a different one on every week? And just when they think they're doing well, we'll trip them up with a complicated quiz at the end to just leave them feeling a wee bit less valuable than what they were. Now, we'll go on to some positive Celtic news, David. Now, I appreciate none of us are avid fans of League One, although I did appreciate Mr. McIver's comments midweek on the show saying he does actually go to 10 or 12 MK Dons matches live. What's the chances of that, a bus passenger? So he gave us a bit of insight into Matt O'Reilly, but just looking at the Matt O'Reilly signing, David, is this a signing that enthuses you? Have you watched much of the YouTube footage that seems to be all the rage these days?
Well, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'd even heard of the boy until you. I think it was you that actually tweeted the rumours. So I was like, who's that? Another Riley? Who's this one this time? Is it? And where's he going to end up? Because until, like you say, until we see him holding a Celtic shirt, it's you start to become reluctant to buy into the fact that he's coming here.
Yeah,
but
totally agree.
This one moved so fast that you didn't really have any time to really get too excited about it. One minute we're getting told this Matt O'Reilly guy, who you've probably never heard of, who has been tearing up League One apparently. I'm not going to sit here and say that I watch League One.
No,
I don't. But like every Celtic fan that probably saw the rumours when they came up on Twitter, you go and check the YouTube reels, and we all take the reels with a pinch of salt. Albeit the Japanese YouTube reels, they didn't mess up. They don't seem to mess around the Japanese YouTube reels. They just seem to go, "This is the player you're buying. This is how good he is, and you're going to find out on Monday night how good they are." That's how it seems to work. But when we've been bitten before. We've watched some YouTube reels. You can make I'm a terrible football player. I'm last picked on the five-a-side pitch, and even I could probably look good on YouTube.
Totally, mate. Totally.
So I can't say I got excited right away. Like I think I said, like you're reserved, but I watched the YouTube reels, and of course, like I say, everyone looks good. But from what you saw, you can't help but go, "Oh, okay, yeah, this one could work." A smaller price than people maybe get excited for, but I think now we don't have to really worry about price tags on players anymore. The way prices are going now, don't worry about the price tag, just worry about what they can actually bring to the table. I mean, we've seen plenty of players come in to Celtic and other clubs at very small price tags, and you can see, wow, we've got a player on our hands. So hopefully, looking at his stats, I think it was 26 matches or something, 7 goals, 5 assists from a midfield player. That's a decent turnaround.
Aye.
The boys on the League One show that I don't know if it's Sky or BBC that show it. They were raving about him. I'm pretty sure everybody would have seen that video pop up on their Twitter feed of them. Just it wasn't. I don't think it had anything to do with the fact he was signing for Celtic. I think he just had a really good performance, and they all said, these guys are experts in that league, and they were quite happily able to say that you can sometimes tell when a player is above this league, and this boy is one of them. So, long-winded answer. I wasn't too excited at first when I seen his name because, like I said, I hadn't heard of him. Yep. But now that he's here and I've watched his interview and I've watched the YouTube reels, you can't help but now, let's get him on the pitch. Let's see what Ange is. Ange has shown us he's got an eye for a player. And I do believe it's an Ange signing. Like, despite him coming from League One, this is the guy that doesn't know the European market. I think he's starting to show that he has an eye for a player, no matter what part of the world that they're playing in.
I couldn't agree more. I think when you look at any signing right now that's getting made under Ange, and I was making this contrast, not to be negative midweek. I'm actually saying it it's amazing how fast it's turned round. But if we were 4 points off Rangers this time last year, albeit I think we were further behind than that this time last year, and I don't want to reflect too much on it, but my point is, if we had signed a guy from League One in England for $1.5 million this time last year to, as we're trying to fight back a deficit in points in the league title and wrestle back the first position, I think we'd be very underwhelmed. Such is the impact Ange Postecoglou has had on players that were already at the club that he's developed further and he's enhanced and he's brought on that we didn't think likely. I think Tom Rogic we thought was halfway out. I think Ralston we didn't expect even to get a year's deal. They spring to mind straight away. Even Greg Taylor was showing signs of it, I thought, midweek that he was buying into what Ange can do. So anyone that Postecoglou signs, you feel, no matter what level they're coming from, he's going to improve them. And the good thing is you're getting a guy high on confidence as well, David. Do you know what I mean? You're getting a guy right now who MK Dons were loath to lose him. I think the fans are absolutely gutted because he only joined in the summer. But Ange interestingly said today, they did target this guy in the summer, and for whatever reason, it never happened. Fair enough. But they monitored his progress. We're very pleased with what they'd seen so far. And they've went ahead and bought him. And I'm really excited to see what he can do. Interesting point came in for Paul McFarlane. I've seen this being a narrative on Twitter. And I actually kind of hope there is a bit of truth in it because, like I'm on record saying many a time, I don't see David Turnbull or Tom Rogic being guys you can hang your hat on starting 55, 60 games a season. Ooh, I said 55. But you know what I mean? I think them starting that many games, they're not those types of players. I think, you know, they were the guys that were coming off after an hour throughout their Celtic careers so far. Albeit Tom Rogic has been for 10 years. He's been coming off after an hour. David Turnbull, we've only got a season's evidence of that. But the thing is, if this guy is in the mould of Tom Rogic, that makes sense to me to have someone in who can come in as a like for like, because Rogic, like I say, has played more minutes this season than anyone expected, started more games, even played 90 minutes on Monday there. I think it's good to have someone else in that same mould as Tom Rogic just to ease the burden on him. What do you make of that comparison, David?
Well, I've been thinking about this quite a lot lately, is the way I've been, and it's just over the last few weeks, and especially with obviously now the January transfer window being open, and this might sound silly, but I'm starting to believe that Ange doesn't have a starting 11. And if you bear with me with that, it's
good point.
Okay, you've got your mainstay, you've got your Callum McGregor, obviously he's going to be there, right? And at the minute, Joe Hart, he's not getting budged. He's there. He can sit there and shampoo his hair all day in that box. Like he's not going to be moving. But when I say I don't believe he's got a starting 11, is because I think Ange doesn't want to have a starting 11. He wants this cohesive unit. Like if you look at the signings of Maeda, and I'm not, and the comparisons I make with Kyogo is not because of where he comes from, but like obviously the style of play, they're very similar style. When you watch from what we've seen on obviously Maeda on YouTube and obviously his game on Monday night, very similar with the pressing of the goalkeeper, the rapid, he clever runs, etc. You've got you're bringing in Hatate, a really obviously looks like a very technically gifted midfielder from what we've seen, and obviously it's just one game, but. And then you've got your Juranovic, you've got your Ralston, who are now Ralston's showing very similar qualities to what we've seen in our let's face it, the Croatian starting right back. Greg Taylor, we've got Liam Scales. He's getting two players for each position that are almost, I want to say identical, but very, very similar, to the point that Ange can say, look, Kyogo might be out for a few weeks, don't worry. Maeda's going to slot in there, and it's going to be just like having Kyogo. It's not a case of us hanging our hat on one simple player or one single player, sorry. If Turnbull was out for a few weeks, that's fine. Hatate's going to come in and he's going to fit in there perfectly. So you're not going to miss. Obviously, Turnbull brings something that you're obviously going to miss because he's a good football player, but you're bringing in players that if someone comes out, don't worry, he's just going to slot in there because we've got this system that Ange wants to play, that every player knows exactly what they're being asked to do. And obviously he's bringing in players that he believes can do that for him. So obviously going back to I don't believe there's a proper starting 11 is because I don't think he wants to have one. He wants to be able to just go, look, you're coming in, you're coming out, you're going to rest, because obviously the high intensity playing style that we have, you have to be able to rotate players without losing the quality, and I think that's what he's trying to do. So we, as fans, don't go, got Hearts on the weekend here, or Hearts on Wednesday, but and we're missing a key player. Whereas it should be, don't worry about it. This boy's coming in and he's going to do the job for us, and
I think you're spot on. I think you're absolutely spot on. I think the reason that we're going for like, I mean, if we're being completely honest, I didn't see on many people's shopping list centre midfielder when you were looking at all the comments coming in the past sort of 3 weeks. We've had a lot of fun when the football was stopped on the Bhoycie bus, speculating about players that could join or dream fantasy transfer lists we had at one point and what positions we all identified. I very rarely seen attacking mid in there, in terms of we've seen maybe a winger, we've seen centre forward, but we kind of knew Maeda was going to come in, so that was fine there. I've seen left back brought up a lot, even tonight in the comments. Backup goalkeeper was mentioned, and potentially a centre half. It's funny that Ange identifies and sees football completely through his prism, which I like because, if you're agreeing with me, you're in trouble. And I think the fact that he's getting someone in to compete again with Rogic and Turnbull bodes well for us. And of course, when we've seen the impact a guy between 1 and 2 million like Hatate makes on Monday, what difference is there really between a guy coming from another league that we don't know much about, coming in, same price range, don't judge because it's League One. Let's see what he does in a Celtic shirt and under the tutelage of Ange Postecoglou. But I'm quite enthusiastic about it. But like I say, to be fair, I think I'd be enthusiastic about anyone that Ange Postecoglou signs right now, such as I'll say again, the turnaround in mindset of a Celtic fan from 12 months ago signing the guy from League One when you're 4 points behind in a league title race to signing one now. It's chalk and cheese. The difference is unbelievable. And that's down to the manager himself. Let's see what happens with O'Reilly. And obviously it's funny as well that obviously it was the life of Riley at Celtic the past week, because obviously it was Riley McGree last week that we all thought was signing. This week it's Matt O'Reilly who does sign. So there you go. There you go. Now the thing is, moving on, Ange, I'm calling him Mysterious Ange now. Mysterious Ange, because now I know word for word what he said in the press conference wasn't, it's impossible that we sign anyone else. He says we'll be agile. But he was definitely giving off, David, the sort of vibes that our business, now that we didn't get McGree, our business is done. There's no one on the periphery. There's no one being identified. We're not in talks with anyone. He couldn't emphasize the word lies more than what he did in that press conference. Lo and behold, a matter of 3 or 4 days later, boom, we've got a target in the door, signed, 4.5-year deal. So the question I've got to ask now is, firstly, are we really to take everything Ange says at face value, right, in the media? Because he does shoot straight. He'd be, you would level that sort of term at Ange. But at the same time, he says a lot of things that perhaps have undercurrent meanings, or he's very clever with the wording he uses. So you could never say he was lying, but he might mean something a wee bit differently from what he's insinuating, shall we say. And I'm a wee bit now thinking, the fact that such a small amount of time between that press conference where he seemed so convinced we wouldn't really be in the market again unless something out extraordinary happened, to then signing a player, is there any more to follow?
Ange would make I reckon Ange would make a lot of money on the poker table. He's very good at the bluff. Like, he's got that.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot read him. You think you've got him sussed, and then he just pulls the carpet right underneath. Pulls the rug right away for you. He's got that intimidating aura about him. I imagine. I would certainly be intimidating asking him a question.
Mm-hmm.
And I could. When those guys interviewing him, asking him about more transfers coming in, he comes out with anything that you guys are going to report tomorrow are all lies. You can see. They're deleting everything they're telling to type because they don't want to look like fools. Because he does not suffer fools.
He doesn't miss.
Anything you're going to post up tomorrow, I can tell you now, because they don't have a Scooby. They don't have a clue who we're about to sign. Like, you look back in the summer, we all woke up at that morning, at 7 o'clock in the morning, and there's Kyogo signed.
Yep. Out of nowhere.
Nowhere. Nobody had a clue. Obviously, yeah, he'll probably look at Japan. He's probably going to look at some, the guys that he's worked with in the past. He's not worked with Kyogo. He's like, it almost felt like he just plucked him out of thin air. So they can write whoever they want in the papers, like you say. They don't have a clue. And if I'm being totally honest with you, neither do I. But I would not put it past Ange coming in with another signing. There's guys still to go out the door who I think, I wouldn't even be surprised if we brought in another striker, because Maeda obviously can play as a striker, but I think he's more. I kind of see him going out more on the left, because I cannot. Obviously, like I was saying earlier, like, you can slot in to the striker position now if Kyogo's injured, but when we get to that point where we have Kyogo, Jota, Maeda all fit, that's our front three. I reckon, like, that's who his main guys will be. Yep. I think Maeda would probably push out to the left, so I wouldn't be surprised to see another striker coming in, because Ayeti's not. I can't see Ayeti featuring for us again. If someone wants to take a punt on him, I think Celtic would probably ship him out, despite obviously injury concerns with him. I think he could still last minute leave the door. He could. If anything, he should really go back to maybe where he made his name in Basel. Sure, was it Basel he played for? I think. I might be getting that wrong. But anyway, I think
it's not easy on the spot, is it?
No. Well, obviously he didn't make it at West Ham, so if he's not making it at Celtic. So I think we should get him out the door.
It was Basel.
It was Basel, wasn't it? Yeah. I think so. I could maybe see him leave. I think Sorrow's career's over at Celtic. Whether it's a loan deal just now to get him off the wages or something, just to get him out the door. I know there was talk about the MLS. So if these guys leave, I think it makes room for maybe one more. Whether it's a big marquee signing, like a big name, or not. Most likely, no, Ange, it's probably another guy we've never heard of. But we'll see. We will see.
Definitely. I agree with that, David. I think what we're looking for right now is almost impossible to see, because whatever mapped out season Ange had from when he took over is one that none of us can try and predict. None of us can try and forecast, because he simply operates at this. He's very much in his own bubble. And I think the fact, as I've said before, I think he likes working on his own. I think it suits him. I think he quite enjoys just being, kind of got control of transfers because I didn't get me ahead of recruitment. I think he likes that.
He needs one.
I know. Well, I think as well with the training, I think it's all very much in the mould how Ange wants to play. I think the reason we've never announced an official assistant manager even under Ange, because no one knows if Kennedy's actually the number 2 or not, is because I think their responsibilities are now very much, this is what you're going to do. I just need you to carry out the tasks that have been given to you, really. So all from that point of view, I am looking forward to seeing what any other new potential signing does bring to the club. And from my point of view, if I was to hedge my bets, I would say we are going to bring in at least one more before the end of January. Just such has been the mad nature of this transfer window. I've never known a winter transfer window like it, to be completely honest to you. Just want to say a big shout out to Scott Cameron. First time on the bus and he's loving it. Love seeing comments like that. Get stuck into the comments, Scott. Welcome aboard, mate. It will be a lot of good fun, mate. You'll enjoy yourself. I've got no doubts about that. We're in a wave of positivity right now. And I just want to touch on the fact you were saying about Ange Postecoglou and his poker playing skills, David. And I think that was a brilliant analogy, because, yes, he would be a good poker player. Straight-faced, looks you in the eye, tells you one thing, might actually be giving you a clue as to what he really means by it. That is very, very hard to read if it's a bluff or a double bluff. That's what he's good at. I want to get your thoughts on whether there's potentially another game of bluff going on by Ange Postecoglou. And it comes to Kyogo. We're going to have a wee bit we're going to stir the pot on this one a wee bit. Now, I think he's at it a wee bit, right? That is my take on it. I think he's at it. Now, Kyogo has potential to miss the Rangers game. Yeah, Kyogo was injured lead up to the League Cup final. Starts him for the big game. Gets 2 goals. He then doesn't play, I think, against St Mirren. Draw 0-0. He then plays it, brings him back for the St Johnstone game because we desperately needed to win that. And obviously that would have aggravated the injury. But he had 3 weeks off. Now, this is a guy that played, the final game before the break and never picked up a fresh injury. But now he's out the team. I think he's wrapped up in cotton wool. I wonder if this injury, and I've put in the banner there, as serious as it sounds, I don't mean feigning injury or anything like that. I wonder though if Ange, now he's got his recruitments in, is now going, here's the time off that you really should have got leading up to the League Cup final. You should have missed that League Cup final, in theory. I had to play you because of the lack of options. You know what I mean? We had to win it. Whereas now he's going, well, I've got my other options there. Let's just wrap Kyogo up in cotton wool. Firstly, it can deter the Japanese FA if he's not playing, that they think, what's the point in calling him up if he's not fit? Secondly, could it lead your rivals on the 2nd of February up another garden path, thinking, the false sense of security, thinking he may not feature in that game? I wonder if Ange is up to his own tricks. My gut feeling is that Kyogo's going to play in the 2nd of February. Over to you, David, and your thoughts on Bhoycie's latest. I don't want to say conspiracy, because it's not a conspiracy. I love these mind games if he's playing them. I'm all for it.
Oh, it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Go for it. What do you think?
You can't help but just think back to the Betis game. No, sorry, not the Betis game, the Leverkusen game. When we're pretty sure he's not going to feature, and obviously there was McGregor, and then lo and behold, the team sheet came out, and we're all scrambling to Twitter going, he's playing. So I mean, you can't put it past him. I mean, it's a tough one because I know what it means to players to play for their national team. So I can't imagine, if he is fit, Kyogo would want to go and play for Japan. He's not going to lie to to the national team that he's not fit when he is. So there's a little part of me that at the present time, he's not fit. I don't think he's, or else, once that national team comes out, I think we'll know whether he's fit or not. I think if he is fit, he will go to Japan. Saying that though, flip it.
Hey!
I don't know the Japanese national team. I don't know their starting lineup, but the Japanese team might sit there and go, do we need him? And do we want to risk him further, getting on a plane for so many hours when he's maybe still recovering, from a slight injury? It might aggravate it even more. We get him to Japan, and turns out he's not going to be able to play, and it's just been a total waste of time for the player, for his recovery time, looking further down the line. They might not want to aggravate an injury that, we won't need him for these round of games. We'll just let him stay in Glasgow and, see where he's at. I wouldn't be surprised if Ange has been on the phone to the Japanese national team and saying, listen, listen, boys, listen, mate, you're not needing him. He's staying put. He's staying put.
Honestly,
right?
mate, it's a bad one, this. I'm telling you.
Listen, we've got this guy called a Yeti. I'm sure, you can have him. You can have him if you want, just to fill a bench. I think I think it's so difficult. It's so difficult. He could be at it. We'll see. We have to hope that the game, if the game even goes ahead, whether we have to worry about it or not. But he is a mysterious man, is Ange.
Definitely mysterious Ange, mate.
You can't read him.
Definitely, that's my new name for him, Mysterious Ange. I think he's I think he's very clever. I think he knows what he's saying. He knows how it's going to come over, but he would always be able to also back up and say, well, I never told you a lie really there, did I? And you'd be like, well, no, you didn't. But you were also sort of leaning us in a completely different direction than what you meant. I've got a feeling Kyogo plays in the second. Now, a comment came in from Douglas Malderson, and he's saying, thanks for joining us, Dougie, on the Bhoycie bus. He's a good mate of mine. Dougie says, who do you think is more affected by the international corps going in to the Glasgow derby? So it's interesting, isn't it? Because obviously the terminology that was used was it Ange shat it? That's what we kept hearing. Now, that's going to come back and bite eventually now, isn't it? Because undoubtedly, they've seen how awful they were midweek. And I'm sorry, it's not biased. It's a fact. I watched their game on Tuesday or Wednesday night, whatever night it was at Pittodrie. They were rank rotten. And I think now the penny's dropping that Aribo's been their best player this year. He doesn't look like he'd be able to feature. Morelos definitely is out. And suddenly, there's talk of postponing this fixture, even though there's loads of fans there now. It was never about them before, remember. So I think it will be very interesting to see who's more affected, or if someone blinks first, David. And do you think there is a chance of this and the game does get delayed further?
I think it would be naive of us to think that, despite the rivalry, the board's maybe discussing it in the background. You put, obviously, you shat it, no, you shat it, nonsense. Like, you put that aside, these guys communicate. The rivalries 100%. Aside, these guys communicate.
100%.
Listen, guys, you guys have got some guys going out, we've got some guys going out. Maybe we should postpone it. I wouldn't be surprised if Sky might even try and step in and say, listen, we want to we pay a lot of money for this fixture. We want your best players on the park.
But that's where Sky's investment predominantly goes. Sorry to butt in, David, but that is realistically, we've seen the disdain Sky have treated even games both Celtic and Rangers have featured in this season away from home. They've not even aired them. They've kind of put their hands up now almost with the lack of coverage that they've done of SPFL games last season and this one. They didn't even use their full quota last year. They didn't even use their full quota that they paid for of games, which is crap for a football fan. But yeah, they're very much paying for the full 4 fixtures right? The 4 fixtures. What's the product if one team's missing 4 or 5, the other team's missing 3 or 4, or vice versa, whatever team it might be? I think you're absolutely right. Will Sky be raising eyebrows at at this? And will the two boards bash heads and try and come up with a compromise? I'm not saying I want this, by the way. I think we all want the game now.
I want to see. I would like to see us play. I would, if it was up to me, they would play, because I saw nothing to fear. Nothing to fear on Wednesday night there.
No.
Morelos, well, he's not going to be there. He might as well not have been there on Wednesday.
Yeah.
All he was interested in was getting in a scuffle with Bruni. There was, we can all say what we like about Morelos. He barely scores against us. Blah 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 blah. The boy does know how to find the back of the net. He's a good player for them. I wouldn't have him at Celtic, to be honest. But there's no denying he's a goal threat. He is a goal threat, and what he gets, what Rangers get out of him, he produces goals. So yeah, they'll miss him. But I would play the game. I don't think, even if he was available, I would play the game. I would play it. I think we've got enough now. That squad is strong enough now in depth. It's going to be a full Celtic Park. There's not going to be a blue shirt in that stadium, bar the 11 on the pitch. I don't think Celtic have anything to fear going into that game. So I would play it whether we have all the Japanese boys in, because obviously Rogic will be away.
Yep.
Or if the Japanese lads are away on national duty, I'd play the game. We've got quality there to play them. If we play like we played on that first half against Hibs, we could blow them away. Just from what I've seen from Wednesday night there, obviously it's a better quality opposition. But I think we would win that game. I think we'll win that game.
I think we're very confident going into it. I mean, we've heard a lot about the squad depth, etc. the first half of the season, and they had a better one than us. I agree with that. But I think Celtic have strengthened in the right areas and are full of confidence right now. Douglas comes back and he thinks it definitely will go ahead. I'm not convinced at this moment in time. I think there may well be talks that will ongo. I'm not saying even if they do, I think they'll hold talks either way. I'm not saying that'll definitely mean it's postponed, but I certainly think it's still up for debate, and it will be debated by both clubs between now and the second. I definitely, and it'd be great to get some clarity on it. The sooner the better. But the flip side of that is, of course, you need to wait till the international teams have made their call-ups. You need to wait on that, basically.
Do we know when?
Yeah, there was talk. I think. Oh shit! Someone put it on Twitter. It's 5 a.m. The Japanese squad's called up, and it's either tomorrow morning or Sunday morning. I'm sure of it. And yeah, once that's all sort of done and dusted, I think that'll be interesting. But here's the alternative that John comes up with, John Tomlinson from the Endless Celts, top lad. And I totally understand this point, because we're all competitive at the end of the day. And we want, you want both at full strength. No excuses when we win. And they kind of say, aye, but it was this, it was that. And I just think from just from the competitive side of me, do you know what I mean? I want to play them. You know what I mean? Them at full strength. I want us at full strength. And, let's see if you can hang under the pressure. Let's see how you do under 60,000 with none of your fans there. And stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? And I think definitely from our point of view, the game right now, if it goes on the 2nd of February, will suit Celtic, I think, more than Rangers, purely based on, I just think, since the start of January, like I was alluding to on the Monday Club, I didn't know what the Rangers score was going to be against Aberdeen, but I had a feeling that they might drop points in the near future. I just feel, for whatever reason, between the fans' momentum behind Postecoglou, this belief that we've got in this manager, with Ange getting free rein in the transfer market, with the fans back in the stadium as well, I just feel right now the pendulum is just ever so slightly swinging towards Celtic right now with the positive vibes. And that's funny, because Rangers would have every right, or any fan of Rangers to have every right to say, we've lost 1 in 60, and you're telling me that, Bhoycie, what a load of shit. Totally get that. Totally get that point. But for whatever reason, I just think it's we've got a wee bit momentum. And I think if the game was to go ahead, it benefits us more than them. I'm all for it going ahead. We will wait and see on that one. Who does it harm the most in terms of international call-ups? Hard to say, really, because like you were saying, David, Ange doesn't have a certain, a first 11 set in stone. He's looking at it as a squad game, so he'll be thinking, right, 4 or 5 are out. Here's the other 4 or 5 that go in. So we never know. But thanks for the comment, Dougie. Appreciate it, mate. Right, so as we've kind of touched on already, David, we don't need to analyse this for too long, but a great week behind us as we close the gap at the top to 4 points. Wins against Hearts and Dundee, though, are essential now to ramp up the pressure ahead of that midweek showdown if it goes ahead. I think, it's great when you see Tuesday and we get 2 points closer because we put in an excellent, particularly first half performance on the Monday. David, the hard work starts now, though, and that's got to be the attitude after every win that we get. After the 90 minutes, the hard work starts now, and we get back into it again. Which, don't get me wrong, I don't think there'll be any let-up for Postecoglou or any of that first-team squad. The ones that have been round the block are just as crucial because their frustration from losing the league title combined with the fact that it was potentially 10 in a row. And then you've got the new guys coming in that seem to have a work ethic, a drive and desire unseen from new signings from overseas, so instantly. All of that combined, I think the attitude side we don't need to question, but it's about putting in the performances as well. Tynecastle's a tricky one. I know we're at home to Dundee United, but it's essential we get 6 points ahead of the 2nd of February. And who's to say Rangers don't slip up again? I'm not saying they will, but if they were to, we want to capitalise on it. But at the very bare minimum, we expect to be a minimum 4 points behind come the 2nd of February. Do you agree with that?
100%. Yep, 100%. We can't afford to drop any points between now and really the end of the season. Every game is a must win. We need the Tynecastle game. That will be an interesting one. It's a tough place to go to. Obviously, like for the new boys, that's an intimidating stadium to go to with the fans. They're so close to the stadium. They're right on top of you. I think Ange said in his post-match that he wanted to give Hatate and Maeda the experience of playing in front of such an excited Celtic Park. Obviously, not being there for so long, that was a very positive game to play them in, and they wanted to show what they were capable of, and obviously they did that. Whether they've experienced anything, obviously I don't know the Japanese league. I don't know if they'll have experienced anything like an away game like at Tynecastle. It might be quite a pressure cooker for these guys. Mm-hmm. But I get the feeling Hatate just is going to be that guy that can just take everything in his stride. He just does it. I know it's one game, and it's obviously you can't really judge a guy solely on one game. But I just couldn't help but feel like he's just going to be that guy that just embraces everything put in front of him. He was very positive in the Hibs game. He wanted to make forward passes. He wanted to make things happen. And he wasn't afraid to make mistakes. And if he made a mistake, he was very quick to rectify it, or certainly show that he was willing to win that ball back. That you just had to look at the boys' heat map. He was all over the place. And whether that was because he a slack pass and he was right on that corner winning it back. So I think, obviously, Ange has to pick what he feels will be the strongest team to go to these kind of places. Whether it's a mix of experience and obviously wanting to throw in the new boys, which he's obviously not been afraid to do. He wasn't afraid to do that with Starfelt at the Tynecastle game.
Yep.
Obviously, it wasn't the best of games for Starfelt, but I feel like he's come on a fair bit since then. So I think he's learned from mistakes that he's made. I think he looked tremendous actually against Hibs. I thought he looked really good against Hibs.
Yeah. Just to touch on, just quickly, just to come in, because it was a really interesting point you made about Hatate's persona, and you're thinking about his character and taking it in his stride. It's very interesting because Postecoglou is credited with a lot of comments where he's saying, look, I don't just sign players, I sign the person as well. And it's very important to him that the people he's getting are the right fit for his team, not just what they can do with the ball at their feet, but what they can do up there. And,
listen,
yep.
Sorry to interrupt you there. You're totally right. And, that's, like I said in the comments the other day, that's a heavy shirt these guys wear. a real heavy shirt that they wear. And, you know, it's something that we as fans, we like to try and be able to relate to that kind of pressure, but I don't think it's something that we really can. Like, put it this way, right? When I would play 7-a-side, which I've alluded to before, I'm a terrible football player, right? When you're playing in the cages and you've got the cages next to you, right? And their ball comes over the cage into your cage, and they're like, mate, go and kick that ball back over that cage. The pressure that I feel when I've got these 14 other boys that I know are better at football than I am, watching me about to try and kick this ball over this fence and not make an absolute arse of it, right? And then 9 times out of 10, I'm going to kick the fence. I'm going to hit the ball off the fence.
Right.
I can't even begin to imagine being a football player at Celtic Football Club, like somebody like Starfelt, who's like, he's the kind of boy that people are just kind of waiting for mistakes to happen. 60,000 people waiting for you to kick that ball over that fence.
Oh, man.
You can't comprehend it. So, yeah, he needs guys that are mentally tough, that are able to kick that ball over that fence and not worry about it, you know?
Mate, I think you're absolutely right. We've all been in that position. You know what I mean? He's the ball back, mate. And then you're like...
I'll just throw it. I'll run round. I'll just run round.
I'm in my leopard print shoes. I'm like, really, lads, what's happening here? But no, I get what you mean. And the good thing is, you're absolutely right. I know there's a serious point you're making there, though. You need folk that can embrace that pressure. You need folk that can handle it. And we do think that Hatate, when he's in the first half hour of his match at Celtic in an electric atmosphere, he's only flown over 3 weeks ago. It's his first ever start. And he's chesting the ball down and using his weak foot to hit volleys at the goalkeeper. You just thought, this guy's, as you say, I think it's a great term to use, is, you know, taking it in his stride. Now, just to go slightly off piste, a wee bit self-indulgent about the bus here, because questions are flying in about what we're doing for the game tomorrow. So there's a bit of an issue with the game tomorrow. I can't do a fan cam because I'm working, but I could come on, I don't know. I'm trying to think. I could maybe do the second half. This is mad. Now, I could maybe do the second half, but at the very least, we'll get post-match pish. There'll definitely be post-match pish tomorrow. But we'll try. I'll maybe do the second half for the. Is it really worth it though? For maybe. We'll see how the game's going. If
just to see Barry Ferguson's face when we beat them.
Oh, I know. He'll be like, it's scrunched up with, you know. But I think that's a game that, again, we can't take too lightly. And we'll just quickly, that leads us on to it as well, because it is at 5:30 tomorrow. Are you expecting wholesale changes in that game? As I say, we will be live with the post-match pish afterwards, as always. Will we do a fan cam? Well, I can't do the start of the game anyway. Is there any point coming on the second half? We'll probably give tomorrow a bye, and then I'll just do post-match pish. And then I've looked at the next fixtures, though, just very quickly on the old fan cam thing. And I think I'll be able to do it for about 7 at the next 8. I do plan on going to one of the games, which I won't be able to do it for. And post-match pish will be a later show, if not the following day. Because I like kind of going to the games. You kind of get into that. I don't get to do it often because of my work. But I've looked at the fixtures. So the next couple of months, you're going to get a lot of Bhoycie bus post-match pish at the very least, if not some fan cams as well in there. Anyway, Alloa tomorrow. Comfortable win for you, David? Obviously, there is the added sort of spice to the fixture with it being Barry Ferguson, who's the manager. I don't actually mind him as a pundit now. I think he's very balanced, and I think he does Rangers fans' heads in because of he's so balanced than what he does Celtic fans, to be completely honest to you. Do you see any difficulties tomorrow?
I'd like to think not, you know, but it's one of those, it could be one of those away days where it can be a wee bit frustrating for the first 25 minutes, 30 minutes, and we'll eventually break through and score a goal, and we will relax a little bit more. But you never want to take these games too lightly. We've been bitten in the past with these obviously lower league teams, so you don't want history repeating itself. And I'd like to think we'd get the win. Whether we change the team too much from what we saw on Monday night, I think it'll be a bit of a mix. I think we'll see a few players coming in, getting a run out. I wouldn't even be surprised if we've seen the new boy O'Reilly getting a run out.
Yep.
I don't know when Rogic will be flying off to Australia, so we might be able to just get him some game time, because I reckon he would probably just slot straight in there for the upcoming fixture. So maybe we'll get to see him get a run out tomorrow. Tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow 5:30. I mean, I think you're absolutely right. I think O'Reilly comes in. I think he'll play tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts.
I see your comment there, Giacomakis up front tomorrow. I would agree with that. I think he'll get a run out. I think it might be a game where we need a big physical boy up front, because I can see maybe our smaller attackers getting a few kicks tomorrow, on this plastic pitch as well. So yeah, I think a big physical boy like Giacomakis, or however you pronounce his name, I think he'll start up front.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right. I think Giacomakis as well. I mean, we're into January now. The guy signed in July, August, something like that. I think we kind of need to see what he's made of. If he's fully fit. This guy came top scorer in Holland. It's been said a million times, but the fact is, he's got pedigree. He's one of these players that I don't want to go off the radar of fans, or fans to have written off, if you know what I mean, because they've not seen him enough. If you're going to write him off, do it based on what you've seen on the pitch. I mean, need to be patient and just accept the fact that, albeit he's been at the club 4, 5 and a half months, whatever it's been, I can't actually work it out. But yes, it's a considerable period of time. But minutes on the pitch, not a lot. Let's be completely honest here. Not a lot to go by yet.
I liked what I've seen. I've liked what I've seen when he comes off the bench, and he's obviously been given a job to do. I think he's carried out that job well. It's obviously when he's come on in the European games, and he was there to ruffle up the, getting the defenders' faces, give them a bit of a fright. And I think he did that well. He held up the ball well. Yep. It changed the whole game plan, which then I think confuses the defenders. They've been having to deal with trying to keep an eye on Jota and Kyogo making all these darting runs. Yep. And now we've got this big lad to deal with who's fresh off the pitch. We're tired. And now we've got this big physical boy on who can find the back of the net. And I think tomorrow could be a good day, just to get his confidence up. Put in a good performance. Show us why you're wearing that number 7 shirt. Because I'm tired of seeing boys take that number 7 shirt and not. I'm not saying they've got to be Larsson. No. Absolutely not. But I was talking earlier about a heavy shirt. That is one heavy shirt to be wearing, and I'm starting to think we might need to just retire that shirt. I'm starting to think it's cursed. Like, Paddy Roberts taking it in his second season, gets injured, didn't really kick on after that. The boy for Dundee United we signed, he took it. He was forgettable. I'm starting to worry that shirt's maybe just a bit too heavy for these boys at the minute. I'd like to see him show us why you picked that number. You picked that number. Whoever signs for Celtic knows who's won that number in the past. They want to make that number their own. Start doing it. Start showing us why we signed you.
Well, you were talking about heavy shirts. Obviously, I don't think anybody's heavier than the number 7 shirt. Just such an iconic shirt. But again, with Giacomakis as well, I just think he's one of those players that I think tomorrow's an ideal circumstance to bring him in. I think it will be a physical tie, yes. I think there's a lot more to his game than just physicality, though. The game he impressed me the most, he didn't score him, but he came on against Ferencvaros. I was at the Ferencvaros game. He came on and he just gave us such a different outlet up top. His hold-up play was excellent. He allowed wingers to get up and, in line with him. He could, it just felt like he led the line really well. And obviously he can mix it. The physical aspect's one thing. I don't want to pigeonhole him too much to just being a physical striker. Again, we'll go back to what we spoke about at the top of the show. YouTube reels. Now, if you watch Giacomakis' YouTube reels, the variation in his goals is quite incredible. So I'm quite keen to see how he can do. And hopefully, and I've banged this drum for a long time now, even on the other pod I used to bang this drum, hopefully we'll go back to a day where we see Celtic starting with 2 up top at home in the league. That wouldn't be bad. And obviously we've got different options now to do that. If we can keep them all fully fit, that might be, a dream that I had that becomes a reality. Now we are pushed a wee bit for time here because, well, not that it really fucking matters. I don't really care. But usually I kind of keep the show to being an hour, basically. It's not like anyone can give me a row for it. I didn't know what the score was in the Scottish Cup tonight. I think someone's saying about, 2 penalties. I don't know if he was talking about for Rangers today. Stuchib wants to know, if you're in a barber's shop, David, you can give another wee plug if you want, mate.
Yes, Stu. I'm in my barber shop. I thought I'd just come down and do it here. I've got the ring light set up and stuff for taking pictures of the clients and stuff. So, and I get a bit of peace and quiet. So yeah, I'm in my barber shop. Bit of a cooler background than maybe just in my living room. So
there you go. You're getting a wee bit of praise for Terry Robb there, saying a great guest again. There you go. See, I know the viewers, mate. I'm telling you, Terry. It could
Cheers,
be you
Terry.
next. It could be you next, Terry. But as I say, I build you up.
You bring me right back
down. And we are going to do some double Doon. Stephen Tomlinson, who did episode number 1. Stephen Tomlinson, the anchor of the Endless Celts podcast, who went live at 8 o'clock tonight. So you can catch up on that after here if you didn't watch it before jumping on. Stephen got 125 points, as did Jonathan. Stephen was week 2, Jonathan was week 1. But Jonathan was slightly slower than Stephen. So on goal difference, if you like, Stephen leads the way. The double Doon quiz is difficult. Are you ready to play some double Doon? Have you been dreading this moment?
I've been dreading this all day, mate. I'll be the boys in the chat and the girls in the chat. We can get that Celtic shirt handed back, mate. You know, fuck off. Honestly.
I'm laughing at this as well. Henry McKenna's just fell at the pub and onto the bus. Hail, hang out your brightest colours. I love it. Paul McFarlane's trying to get some business with you as well. 50% though he's going for. That seems a bit bold, Paul. That seems a bit bold, mate. Right. Scott says, well done, David. Cracking beer, nearly as quality as mine. There's only, by the way, David, you got nothing to worry about tonight because there's only 108 people watching live right now, son. I couldn't resist, mate. I couldn't resist. Right, let's get up the old stopwatch. I've still not done any branding for this. I need someone to design me a leaderboard. Anyone in the comments wants to do me a leaderboard, that would be excellent. And that they can update every week. If anyone wants to get involved with that, that would be awesome. What am I looking for here?
The rules, I hope you're going to remind me of the rules.
Right, aye, we can go through the rules. Don't you worry about that, mate. They seem to be a wee bit beyond your Philip DeMarco, who struggles. I just seen someone say that his beard's like my wife. I can't keep up. I'm trying to read the comments. I'm trying to do this. Someone just said your beard's like his wife's, and that has made me chuckle.
I'll send her some beard oil.
Right. Anyway, so yeah, Liam Colo was it Liam? No, sorry, Bruce FM was the first last week to do it in under a minute. He actually managed to do it in 56 seconds last week. I think he was actually a bit quicker than that, to be fair. But yeah, 56 seconds from our Bruce. So just see how that's looking. We're looking all right. Right, brilliant. So we'll get this set up in a wee second. It is time to play double Doon. Now, we will go through the rules for you. I don't want you panicking. 125 points, as I say, is the score to beat. Now, you get 3 lifelines, David. Double Doon, right? Use it. You've got to use it at some point. That'll double the points you get if you get the question right. However, when I'm reading out every question, I'll say question 1 and then read out the question. You have to say double Doon either before I say question 1 or before I've read out the question. You can't know what the question is and then double Doon on it.
All right,
a wee bit naughty.
Aye, okay.
If you want to back Doon, it just means we skip the question, move on to the next one. It's good for your time because we'll come to that in a minute. And if you want to flip it, you can flip any question. Now, the questions get harder as you go, David. So for the first question, you'll get 5 points. By the time you get to question 6, the final question, it's 50 points. So obviously the double Doon comes in there. It comes into play because you might want to hedge your bets that you'll get the last question right, and that'd be 100 points for that. Or you might want to go middle of the road, question 3. Or you might want to go early because you know you'll get it right. Or if you're not sure, I'll read out the question to you. If you're not sure of it, you get one chance to use the lifeline, flip it. Now, when you flip it, that means I give you the flip it question. The flip it question could be of the difficulty of question 6, or it could be of the difficulty of question 1. So it might be worth the gamble sometimes. So double Doon, you've got to call before the question's read out. You can only use it once and it doubles your points. Flip it. Once you've heard the question, you can use that once as well if you're not sure. Okay? All following
Okay.
that? Yeah?
Aye, okay.
Cool. If you've got through the 6 questions in under 1 minute, you'll get a bonus 50 points. If between 1 and 2 minutes, you'll get 40 points. If between 2 and 3 minutes, you'll get 20 points. 32 comments in here. Jeez, oh, what is everyone talking about? Just get on with it or I'll teabag you, lad. Well, you've been a brilliant commenter, have Balders, whatever that's meant to mean. Honestly, full of joy tonight in the comments. I've really, really enjoyed it, mate. What a contribution you've made. Honestly, absolutely outstanding. Right, we will crack on with it though. Absolutely. Let's play some double down. David, you ready?
Aye, go for it. Why not?
3, 2, 1. Question 1. Who won the penalty for Celtic in Monday's 2-0 win over Hibs?
What was the handball, wasn't it? The Deutsch.
Who won it for us? Who was it?
Abada.
That's it. Good. Question 2. How much did Celtic pay for Chris Julian?
7 million. Double down.
Very
No,
good.
forget the double down. Forget the double down.
No, right. You want the double do for question 3?
Go. Aye, double down.
Right, no worries. Name one of Neil Lennon's assistant managers in his first spell as manager.
Johan Myalby.
Very good. Very good. Question number 4. Ronnie Dyler was twice knocked out of the Champions League qualifiers. Both teams began with M. Name one of the opponents to
Malmo.
do so. Jeez, oh, he's on fire. Question 5. What shirt number did Aidan McGeady wear at
46.
Celtic? No way. Question number 6. To seal the 2001 treble, we beat Hibs 3-0. Larson with 2 goals. Name the first half sub who scored the other and assisted one
Maloney.
of Henrik's goals.
Oh, too early. That'd be too early. Oh, I've said Maloney. I've said it. Never
You
mind.
said Maloney.
Nah, I said
that
it
one
wrong.
you got incorrect. Stop the
Yep.
clock. So you're between 1 and 2 minutes. That's fine, but it was quick. It was quicker than Stephen Tomlinson as well, by the way. That was about 1 minute 10. This is going to get tasty here. So,
2001. Sorry, I'm just reading that question there. I just panicked.
Aye,
And just,
it's quite an unlikely one. It's quite an unlikely one. And we'll go over the flip it question in a wee second as well, just for that bonus bit of a laugh. So question 1 was, who won the penalty for Celtic in Monday's 2-0 win over Hibs? Of course, it was Liel Abada, so you get 5 points.
I thought it was a trick question there because I thought sure it was a
No,
handball.
I wouldn't do that in the first question, mate. No. Question number 2. How much did Celtic pay to sign Chris Julian in the summer of 2019 for 10 points? And it was £7 million. You were right again. Now, name one of Neil Lennon's assistant managers in his first spell as manager. 20 points on that, but you doubled down, so you got 40 points because you named Johan Myalby. It was the other options were Alan Thompson and Gary Parker. So the next question for 30 points. Ronnie Dyler was twice knocked out of the Champions League qualifiers. I want you just to leave it as that. And because they both began with M, I put that in. And then I kind of feel like that was a wee bit easier, if I'm honest.
Who was the other one? Who was the other one again?
Maribor. But that was tricky. But Malmo was the other one. But you got it right again. Another 30 points to add. Question 5 was you go for a whitewash. And this one you answered far too quickly. I thought this would have thrown you. I genuinely thought folk would go for 11, 7. It was right. 40 points. Question number 6 was interesting. To seal the 2000 to 2001 treble, we beat Hibs 3-0. Henrik Larsson with 2 goals. Now, we had a first half sub because Lubo came off injured.
Lubo came off, right, okay.
But it's still an unlikely guy.
Unlikely guy.
Do you have another guess?
Nah, go on, just tell me.
So it was Jackie McNamara. Goal. It came on as a first half sub. He opened the scoring and then he set up Henrik for the second goal of the game. Now, you got it between 1 and 2 minutes. So, like we said here, that gets you another 40 points. Let's total this up. I think you're winning, mate. 5, 10, 15. 5 for the first one. Plus 10 is 15. Plus 40 is 55. Boo. Plus 30 is 85. Plus 40 takes you up to the holy grail of 125. But then you get your bonus 40. 165 points. David Logue blows Stephen Tomlinson's lead out the window and cruises into the lead. There's StewTube saying when Jackie scored that in that game, he ran right to me. What an effort. Loads of comments coming in. I think a lot of them are guesses for the questions, which is absolutely fine. There's Paul McFarlane. How are these rules hard? I get it. Thank you, mate. appreciate it. They're not hard. Monty, this reminds me of the first time I opened a physics workbook. Anyway, David, what an effort! 160.5 points. You must be buzzing with that because you were shitting it with the double Doon quiz.
I was shitting it. I was quite happy with the short number question. I've got a weird thing about short numbers. I don't know, like the Birham Kyle one a couple of weeks ago, I knew that one right away too. It's a weird thing I've got about short numbers. Like, I'm like Rain Man for short numbers.
If Monty is convinced that the rules are hard, we'll need to print them off. We'll get some of the Philip DeMarco WhatsApp me today and that quiz tonight with laughter faces. And do you know what? I just had 2 minutes spare, David, and I just went, do you know what? I just sent him the full rules in a WhatsApp message just to wind him up. All I got back was laughter faces. On you go, Bhoycie, says Feed the Bear. You know it. P. McGinley, the rules were explained impeccably. Thank you, mate. Thank you. So, Aidan McGeady was perhaps potentially easier than I thought it would be. I thought that one was going to trip you up. Have you enjoyed yourself on the Double Doon show, David?
I've loved it. I've loved every minute of it, mate. I appreciate you asking me on. I'll happily come back on sometime again, I'm sure.
Aye, definitely, mate. We'll get you back on, of course. Now, the good thing is, Bruce loved it. Liam Colo loved it. You've loved it. The question is to the viewers, if you want to come on, we've booked up the next 3 or 4 weeks. But get your name in the hat because the queue will get longer. You're more than welcome to come on the bus. Any single one of you that wants to put in a wee request to come on for the Double Doon show, I would love to get you on. Talk some Celtic with me, and then we'll do a wee quiz at the end. It's a good laugh, David. It's not too serious, and it's a wee bit of a buzz as well, isn't it?
It's been great fun. Good laugh.
Good
and is that me? Did you say I'm top of the table now?
Top of the table, mate. Top of the table by 40 points.
Come at me, boys and girls.
Bit of needle. I like that. And there's Endless Search Ross Muir. Yes, Stephen Tomlinson smoked. Well done, David. Fantastic. Well, all that we've got left to do then is play the outro credits. They're a wee bit naughty. They're a wee bit funny. I like them. I don't know why Incham's there. Can't think of any reason for that. David, absolute pleasure to have you on the Bhoycie bus tonight. I'll be back tomorrow for some post-match pish. David Logue, once again, top of the table. A big thank you to you. Everyone in the comments, as always, absolutely amazing. And hopefully if you've been watching on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook, hit a wee subscribe on the YouTube channel. Hit the like button. Even give us an RT or a share. Why not? I will see you all later. It's been an absolute pleasure. Cheers again.
Some of his comments about me deliberately trying to cause controversy. Well, I work in the media now, and you've got someone sitting there next to you who's an embarrassment to the media profession. He's an apologist. He's a charlatan.